The radio broadcasting business is a tough one to get into, though I've heard some people's work and wondered if maybe it's not as tough as it should be. But with most local media outlets struggling and cutting back staff or freezing outside hiring, you really have to stand out and prove yourself to be a talented individual to get an on-air gig. Making it slightly easier to find a job in this business is the website Milkman Unlimited, a radio-specific career website where media companies can post jobs, and they even allow people looking for work to write an ad for free in the hopes that some program director is too cheap to pay the $50 for a job posting and will email them instead. Let me share some standouts with you today who've used this service. These are prime examples of how not to get a job in not only the radio biz, but in any business. I've removed names and email addresses for the sake of not embarrassing these people too badly. Oh, and as I have a broadcasting job, just not in terrestrial radio, but instead at a company where I make more than the average radio personality with the same experience, yeah, I feel like I have the right to judge. First guy titles his ad, "Hire me for higher ratings." So he's probably going to be an old pro, right? Probably pretty well known in some mid-sized city or something. No, he's a recent grad. So already if I'm hiring, I think he's a little full of himself. We read on, he says he's very energetic, interested in getting his feet wet in broadcasting. Then he says he's got a great energy. Yeah, we heard you the first time. Energy. We got it. Great. He goes on to say that everyone told him he should be in this business. I don't remember telling him that, and I don't think my friends or family have ever told him that, so that's a lie. Then he asks for the opportunity to introduce himself and that the station won't regret it because they need him. That's right. Your radio station is falling apart, and this is the guy that's going to save it. A recent grad with only college experience, and depending on the college, that could be pretty minimal. He tops it all off with the wrong use of the word your, and this piece of literary genius. That is why you're on this site. Because you haven't found me yet. Here I am. Yep, and there you'll stay, pal. Our next would-be candidate screams man for the job. Literally, if you consider all caps to be the written form of yelling. He starts off with this gem. Why me? Well, let's see. What a fucking poet. Then he talks about what he loves doing, which is apparently spelling the word commercials wrong and using apostrophes in the wrong spots. Then he busts out cliche number 1 in this post with the always favorite, you have to love what you do, right? Wrong, you don't. There's lots of people that hate their jobs but have to do them because they either can't do anything else or they don't have the motivation to try and find something better. Money just doesn't magically appear in your bank account, unless of course you fill out the right applications from the government. Reading on, he says, now you're asking yourself, what can I bring to your station? No, I'm betting they're asking themselves if this guy's caps lock key is broken, if he knows what a semicolon is supposed to be used for, and why there's not a question mark on the end of this sentence. That's assuming they got this far. I'm betting they didn't. Anyway, so what's he bring to the table? Why, the ability to produce effectual commercials, of course. I can tell he wanted to use a big word here to look smart, but guess what the word effectual means, buddy? It's not a synonym for effective. Here's the dictionary.com definition. Producing or capable of producing an intended effect. Adequate. Gee, just what every station wants. Someone that can make the adequate happen. Good sell, man. Good sell. He then says he can communicate with clients professionally. You know what? I don't think he can. Unless he thinks professionalism is poor spelling, grammar, and punctuation in full capital letters. Based on this, I wouldn't let this guy write a Christmas card to my fucking dentist. Never mind communicate with people who are spending thousands of dollars or more with my business. He then busts out cliche number 3, the professional manner bullshit thing being cliche number 2, by saying he's adaptable, easygoing, hard-working, and dedicated. So hard-working and dedicated, in fact, that he couldn't be bothered to run this through spell check. He then has the balls to ask a potential employer, now, why you? Like he wants to know why he should work for them. Seriously, why them? If this guy had even one response, then that radio station's program director or general manager must have either been extremely desperate or figured they could get a subsidy for hiring a mentally challenged person. And finally, we have someone looking for their big break. 4. The number 4. Did he type this in 30 seconds on a goddamn cell phone? Also to note, before I even go any further, no punctuation, none. So, I'm going to read this, as written, to you. I'm not gonna try and say something funny or witty. I didn't go to school to be a comedian, graduated from Columbia Academy in Vancouver, yet am still working construction. I have a demo and resume for those who are interested. I'm just an email away. Right off the bat, he says he's not going to try and be funny or witty. So, what is it exactly you would bring to a show? The ability to read the details of an upcoming contest or tell people what's coming up later on someone else's show? Congrats, you've put yourself in the same league as everyone who's ever had to write and then read a speech, which I think they do in grade 1. You know what else they do in grade 1? They teach you how to use a fucking period. The Columbia Academy in Vancouver, though, must be a fine institution to have allowed this guy through. And I don't know about you, but it almost sounds here to me like he's blaming them. Graduated, yet I'm still working construction. Yeah, the reason you're still working construction is because of this school. That's probably it. I can't see any other reason. Though the school clearly didn't do him any favors by taking his money and letting him complete the program, he might have to shoulder just a tiny % of the blame here. I'd love to hear if anyone was interested in his resume and demo. I'm assuming if they were, it was because they just had a lousy ratings period and needed something to make them laugh again. Well, I hope you've learned something from this little presentation. First impressions and presenting yourself in a professional manner, that matters. Whether you're trying to get a job in the radio broadcasting industry, or any job in general that doesn't involve telling people what aisle various food products are in, or where you'll have to read more than just the instructions on the side of the deep fryer. I'm Buckley, and you're welcome.